Good evening, Arsenal community. Highbury Squad, we are back. Guest host Albert JTV with my brother from another mother, Demian Arriaga. Plenty to discuss. Arsenal women, Arsenal men. Let's do this, people. After the intro, we'll be back shortly.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Yes, good evening, people, wherever you are. 5:34 p.m. UK time, and I'm very well aware that is not the time for everybody else, including my guest hosts as well. But it's been a while, people. It has been a while. But the show must continue. Me and Demian have been reunited once again. Hashtag number 4. People, if you don't know what I'm talking about, me and Demian's 4th show. But this is actually a little bit different because we're at Arsenal men's and the Arsenal women's. So it's big up to the squaddies in the chat. The salute, of course. Thank you, people. Demian, that's it. Demian's attention. I must say, people, I didn't actually have a hat on, but because Demian had one on, I thought, you know what, I've got to join my brother, man, and put one on. But big up to people in the chat. Please smash the like button on the way in if you're watching live. And obviously, when you're watching the rerun, smash that like button as hard as you can. And audio listeners, you will not be forgotten because I'm sure Sophie will do her magical piece of magic act to get this audio going as well on Spotify and Apple or wherever you get your downloads from. But before we must get into housekeeping, of course, people, as you are fully well aware, are my big sis, Demian's big sis, Sophie Nicolau, Queen Nicolau, as I like to call her. Sophie's obviously going through quite a bit at the moment in terms of personal things that are happening with key family members. Sophie did update on the Highbury Squad community page. So people, please pop over there if you haven't read it already or you haven't been anywhere near a computer screen or a mobile phone in the last 3 or 4 days. But our thoughts and prayers go to Sophie and Tony, as I'm sure Demian will echo and the people in the chat if you are aware of what's happening. But Sophie, like I said, has made this sort of public. So no whispers. It's come from the horse's mouth in terms of Sophie. So we're going to carry on and do an amazing show for Sophie because, the show must continue. And Highbury Squad, you've got an amazing community here. And I've been part of that for the last few years. So we need to continue and obviously just have Sophie and Tony's thoughts, prayers and in your thoughts as well, people. So please, people, show some love to Queen Nicolau and big hugs to Sophie and Tony as well. And one extra bit of housekeeping, people. If I can get the image up on screen. With Sophie's got so many stuff here, but let me see if I can find it. Where's it gone? I literally just saw it, people. Bear with me. Because Sophie will slap me if I miss this out. Demian, keep chatting when I find it.
I will say, first of all, let me know, guys, let me know if my mic is okay. I'm having a little bit of audio issues, but you have the picture? You got it?
Got it. People, most importantly, as you know, Sophie has done this amazing channel, the Highbury Squad, with the great late Kevin Campbell. So people, there is, for the Kevin Campbell Foundation, there is an event happening at Camden Square, London, on Friday the 24th of October, 7 p.m. UK time onwards. You can actually scan the QR code if you want to go to the event. And also there is a link in the bio. If there isn't one in the bio, I'm going to put it in there so you can try and get tickets for the event. And there's some Arsenal legends there, obviously, who Kevin used to play with. There'll be Nigel Winterburn. There'll be Martin Keown. There'll be Paul, the magician left foot Davis, I call him anyway. Fantastic player if he's old enough to remember. And Perry Grove. So people, please support the Kevin Campbell Foundation. Full stop. And also, like I said, they have the event coming up on Friday, the 24th of October. So get your tickets in, people. I've made sure I didn't forget that, Demian. Most important.
Love
People,
it.
let me
Thank
come
you.
to the chat
Thank you for
quickly. Go on,
sharing that,
Kevin.
man.
Come in,
No,
bro.
I was just saying thank you for sharing that. Of course, the Kevin Campbell Foundation, a person and a foundation that's obviously near and dear to our hearts. To piggyback on what you said, sending love to Sophie, to Tony, and I know how much she loves this community. I know how much it means for her, not just in tough times, but in great times through Kevin and through ups and downs of being an Arsenal fan. I know how much she and you and I love the community, and I'm always so flattered to be a part of this in whichever capacity I can. I learned so much from you, Albert. I learned so much from Sophie, and of course, I learned so much from us, from you guys, the listeners, and the squaddies. It's just amazing to see everybody. Tammy and so many people, Trevor and Jamie, of course, so many people. So again, always thankful to be here. Excited to talk all things Arsenal, women and men, and merchandise.
Yeah, there's so much of it. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. It deserves its own podcast. It should be the Arsenal Clothing Line podcast. It's just absolutely mental. And we can talk about that at another point. But ready to talk, ready to be involved in some interesting conversations from you, one of my Arsenal Yodas, Albert. You're so knowledgeable, and we just don't get tired of talking about this club that we love on and offline at different points through voice notes through the day with Sophie, or if Sophie's sleeping, you and I are talking. If I'm sleeping, you and Sophie are talking. If you're sleeping, Sophie and I are talking. And it's just amazing. So excited to get into the nitty gritty of some things and hear your perspective on many things, my friend.
Yeah, of course. People, love to people in the chat, man. You know what I mean? Reach out to Sophie if you don't have her on socials, but Highbury Squad or Soccer Diva on Instagram and on what's the other place again? X. I completely forgot. Yeah, sorry. So Demian, let's go right into it, man. We're gonna start off with the women's, man. We're fresh off that. I was thinking actually to do the show yesterday, but when me and Demian talked, I thought, no, I need to check the dates of the games and who's playing, who's not playing, and obviously Arsenal had a Champions League game yesterday.
Yeah.
Away at Benfica. Managed to find the link in good time this time. Demian, so we'll talk about the game yesterday quickly, but I also want to bring up some sort of broad points as well. Let me get that coming up stream. So yeah, listen, a win yesterday away to Benfica after disappointment of the week before against Lyon. That is a way to throw it. That is a way to throw away a game. But obviously, you know, with the greatest respect to Lyon, they're a top side. So, but Arsenal sort of gift wrapped that defeat last week. But yesterday, Demian, quick thought. So yeah, Arsenal got the win. I mean, if you didn't see the game, people, I'll give you a little brief sort of notes. What's the word of them? What's the game name meant to say? Sorry.
Say that again.
Hypnosis I forgot the word to say now. It's gone out of my mind. No, it's gone.
That might have to amnesia.
No, it's not amnesia. No.
No, I'm kidding. No, I was just saying because you forgot
No,
something.
but yeah, the game yesterday, it was I don't know, it was Arsenal got the win, but like I said, if you didn't see the game,
synopsis, that's what they're telling.
Synopsis, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you, people. It's a tricky one with Arsenal at the moment. Clean sheet, can't argue. 3 points on the board after obviously the week before against Lyon. But Demian, coming to you, made some change. I think 4 changes were made actually for that game yesterday. Taylor Hines comes in at left back. Beth Mead obviously comes in as well, and a couple other changes. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation, which we'll talk about a little bit as well. But yeah, what have you sort of kind of made? What did you make of the game yesterday, briefly? And what have you sort of made of Arsenal's start this season, Arsenal ladies?
So, when you say the word briefly, you know that it doesn't apply to this psychopath that is me. So, speaking specifically of the match, I have to be completely honest with you and tell you that I didn't watch it. I was really busy yesterday. Fortunately, I couldn't watch it. So I don't really, and I didn't have time today to rewatch the match to have an opinion. What I will say is that it's great to have a win in the Champions League. I know the first game was really, really poor, very unlike Daphne errors and things of that nature. It happened. Things like that are going to happen during a season. And I think there's a broader issue and a deeper lying thing, and I have some theories about that. But overall, I cannot complain, and I'm happy that they won. And, you know, it's really interesting because we talk about Arsenal men as well with this. Like, we want to win well and in style and make our mark and set, you know, a standard. But also we need to win the ugly matches, and we need to, you know, get the results when maybe we're not playing the best style, or some of the players aren't playing the best matches, or, you know, who I think Tammy said it herself, slow in transition, sideways passes, and all these other things. I think there's a deeper thing, and I don't necessarily think that the actual result yesterday disproves it or proves it. I just think it was just like a very administrative thing, a protocol thing. Like, okay, we go, we smash and grab, we go, we get 2 goals, we get out of there, boom. But I'm not really excited for what I'm seeing. And specifically, the last thing I'll say about that is, you mentioned Hines. If there's one thing that I feel that we're missing, is grit and gritty players, and nobody encapsulates that more than Katie McCabe. So when Katie McCabe is not on the team sheet, I'm immediately going to be a little apprehensive about certain things that happen during the match that I think that she could snap out of it, or bring us back, or you know, make the foul, the technical foul that we need, or get that yellow card that is needed to disrupt some things, or be a threat from a different perspective. I don't know if anybody, this is no insult to Taylor Hines, like, I don't know if anybody looks at that team sheet and they're afraid of her, or they're going to think like, oh, she's going to push them into a advertising board. Whereas they see Katie McCabe, they're like, oh my God, I got to play against Katie. And that's what I think we need more of. And so that was like, that's just my take on that particular thing.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of game, I mean, I do look at the not so much during the halftime break, but probably afterwards, in terms of people's feedback online, what they're seeing. I think they're just not doing a lot of things, or they're falling a little bit short, whether that be from an attacking point of view. I talked about the midfield imbalance from last season. I saw people talking about Taylor Hines. I thought it was a little bit unfair. I actually thought a lot of people were saying some were quite negative. I didn't think she was that bad yesterday.
No, I mean, and prior to that, she's great. She's a great player. Yeah,
I was just surprised by some of the stuff I saw yesterday. I was like, I might be watching a different game, Demian. I mean, people were free to disagree with me, but I actually thought, the thing is, Demian, we bought Taylor Hines, right? Now, I didn't watch Liverpool week in, week out last season, but I'm going to have a pretty good educated guess she played at right back last season, right? And also she can play in a defensive sort of DM role from my understanding of positioning how she can play. So, you know, Jenna Nice-Wonger was a Renée Slegers signing. I mean, we have to remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on there, to be honest with you. I mean, she's in the squad yesterday on the bench, but I mean, and you know my thoughts about Emily Fox, but she doesn't have to play every week.
Yeah,
that's what you bought Taylor Hines for. So why couldn't they? People might think, oh, but we won the game yesterday. But I'm talking in terms of not just yesterday, but in terms of going forward in the team and how Renée Slegers manages the team. So why can't Jenna Nice-Wonger come in at left back? Still,
yeah.
Taylor Hines can play at right back. That you have options there. So I'm a bit perplexed as to what's happening with Jenna Nice-Wonger. And Demian, I'm fully well aware we are not at the training ground. We are not a sober reality centre.
Of course. Yeah.
She's barely made some of the squads. I mean, I think she's made, other than yesterday, I think Jenna Nice-Wonger has been in maybe one of the squads this season. And I know people might say, you know, a conversation in terms of strength and depth, but I mean, come on. I mean, seriously?
Yeah, that's very strange. And the rotating is important. At the same time, you know, obviously one of the things that I criticized about the previous manager that shall remain unnamed, he never really felt like, it didn't feel like he had a starting 11, his 11 or whatever. and there was no consistency. It seems like Renée is the opposite way, where she just overplays the same people over and over. And I think that there has to be a little more flexibility. And also she's kind of playing with the players that she has available. But I also think there's been a lot of negligence in the transfer market. And I'm going to, before I get to my big conspiracy theory, I have to say that there is something extremely negligent about not buying somebody to replace Lia Valti. It's, to me, it's absolutely unacceptable. So if we gifted Man City a Viviana Miedema, and yes, we won the Champions League, it's not like Viv prevented us from winning the Champions League. We just didn't win. But we replaced her with Mariona Caldente, who, as you know, one of your favorite players, one of my favorite players. Let's just say she brought us the Champions League, right? How do you not do that with Lia Valti? Like, they're some of the OG players that are somewhat irreplaceable, right? We're talking about, a Beth Mead, a Kim Little, Lia Valti, Leah Williamson, like the spine of the team, right? Now Emily Fox has become that, you know what I mean? So it's so strange to me that you don't do that. So what happens when you don't have a proper replacement for a Lia Valti, which is a specialized player? You then have to move Kim Little and Mariona Caldente so far down the pitch that essentially you don't have a number 10 or a free roaming 8 that could do the things that we need them to do, to step in as a 10 and then come back. Frida Manum is not it.
No.
Obviously, Victoria Pelova is not it. There's so many players that just we don't have it. And just because a player can play in a certain position doesn't mean that they will excel at that position. We see it with Eze, we see it with Odegaard, we see it with so many people that could play somewhere but they don't, or Arteta plays them some. So I think there's you say the word imbalance, and you say it often, and I think that's one of the most accurate words to use, and I wish I would come up with that word more often, because I always feel like whenever you say it, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And I just think that that is a key that it's making a lot of things fall apart. And if anybody ever read any of my blogs or heard any of my podcasts, whenever I spoke about Lia Valti, I always said that she was the barometer of this team. And how she plays, Arsenal plays. And yes, she didn't play, ironically, she didn't play, a lot last year, but we won the Champions League. But she was in the squad. She was part of that team. So many people learned from her. So many people still are playing with the Viviana Miedema mentality, with the DVD mentality, with the, so many former players that have obviously left the club. And their imprint is still very much palpable, and it's indelible in the club. But from a tactical standpoint and from a technical standpoint, how do you not replace one of the world's greatest center defensive midfielders? Imagine a Chelsea, they get rid of Kira Walsh or something like they're going to replace it with a like for like. So I think there's something there that's very strange. And like I said, I have a conspiracy theory that I share with you later. But I just feel like that is one thing that I think throws everything off.
For example, yesterday for the guys that watched the game, Arsenal didn't even... I don't know too many teams that can go 1-0 up in the game of football, but actually not have no shots on target.
Right. It happened twice, right? Did it not happen twice?
Yeah, that to me, that was insane. Even, the goal rightly got awarded to Beth Mead eventually. But yeah, the thing is, we talk about the midfield, and there are a few people who probably said in the chat when they watched his back that they weren't happy with... Arsenal could have done more in the transfer window. I was happy with, obviously, we'll talk about a particular player that we signed, Olivia Smith. I was happy with Taylor Hines, obviously signing Chloe Kelly in the permanent. They brought in a goalkeeper, obviously they didn't feel Zinsberger, who lost it obviously through an ACL in the warm-up yesterday.
Yeah.
But she gets a speedy recovery. But obviously that looked like to me she was way down the pecking order anyway. But obviously the goalkeeper they bought, Aneka Borbe, was injured or was ill yesterday. One of the two, I can't remember where it was. But the midfield is like, it seems to me like it's Kim Little and another. Like, you must know. I don't know. Is Renée still experimenting after what 9, 10, 11 months in the job now? Or do you not know your midfield? Are you happy with the midfield? Or did you try to get somebody else in and, you know, they didn't want to come, or they wasn't available? I don't know what's happening on that side, because I look at someone like Pelova, for example, and to me, if you're going to play her, you play her where Caldente plays. But for me, she hasn't got that. I don't think she has that the footballing brain of Mariana Caldente personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Marnham for me is a finisher. Now, if you're going to play her, you've got to have legs in and around it, the midfield area, in terms of Little's not, she's not old in terms of just as an average person, but in terms, if you're talking football in terms, and obviously she got a contract extension, I don't think she's going to play every week. And obviously, like you said, Leah Vorti, they've moved on for whatever reason. She's gone to Juve now, and you're like, well, and KCC got a good run in the team under Renée Slegers last season, completely out of the team.
Yeah,
holding bench. So I don't know what's going on in terms of the dynamic. So it's very, very strange. But like I said, to not have a shot on target, I think it ended up having like 2 shots on target in the end, but that wasn't till like after the 60th minute. Against a team that really Arsenal should be beating. Maybe not beating comfortably, but they should be beating them. But someone just mentioned Terry put about Williamson. What have you made of the defense this season so far, Demian?
I mean, I'm very happy to see Reed get minutes, and everybody around her seems more calm. And this is not a shade against other players, but when other players play next to Steph Catley, the panic that ensues in that backline is palpable. Mistakes are made. Just nobody is anywhere near as good as I would think Katie. I would add Katie, but center backs as far as Steph Catley and Leah Williamson. So when Leah's not around, it's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And I think Katie has been very decent, except I think there was a foul that she made for a penalty, I think in the first or second match or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think she's fantastic. I'm glad to see her there. I think the rotation needs to happen and things need to be a little bit more balanced, like you say, and better. I don't necessarily have the answer, but I'll tell you this, and this is kind of what I want to get your opinion on, because I think this is, in my head, this is the only thing that I can make sense of what's happening, what we're feeling, or what we're not feeling. I think the club was going to stick with the previous manager till the end of the year, and they had in mind like a 4 or 5 year project, right? A la Mikel Arteta. Not necessarily the deadwood from the Mustafis of the world and so on, but players that they wanted to move on or whatever. And they had this appeal to social media and appeal to younger fans with players that weren't of an older generation, that were proven winners, that were maybe a Fridolina Rolfo or a Dominic Janssen coming back, or players like that were a little more experienced. And they wanted to foster this lovey-dovey, relationship to the club, social media loyalty thing with players like Kira Cooney-Cross, like Victoria Pelova, and other players that, footballing-wise, they don't necessarily, exude grit or danger or aggression and all these other things that you see other teams all over the world buy and build their teams around, right? So we fire the previous manager. Renée comes in, amazing, exceeds all expectations, all predictions. The team pulls out the most unbelievable and deserved wins against incredible teams, comeback queens, unbelievable. We beat Barcelona. Every player has the best the best match they've ever had in their entire lives. It's unbelievable. This collective effort. Beth Mead with the assist, Stina Blackstenius with the goal. Amazing. And then the club is like, they get caught with their pants down. They're like, oh shit, we just won the Champions League. Mm-hmm. So now what? So they make all these like crazy purchases to like add people to the squad. Yet the one player that you keep, Michelle Agyeman, you give her more minutes. Like you send her off to Brighton. Like nothing makes sense to me. And I think that the club were completely not expecting to have this be a thing, winning the Champions League. Would they want to win? Yeah. Do they have the players to win it? Yeah, clearly. We've had them with the previous players in the past 4 or 5 years, if not longer. Mm-hmm. But they didn't know what to do. So not only with the right players, but maybe the manager doesn't necessarily know how to use the players that she has at her disposal to make it great. So I'm very confused how we're going to go forward. I feel a little disjointed and disconnected from the team. I wouldn't go as far as saying that winning the Champions League is the quote-unquote worst thing that could have happened to Arsenal. But this nucleus of players, this group of players, there's something somewhat different. I don't know what it is. It might be something going on in their personal lives or whatever. I do think that they're incredibly professional people, and I trust these women with my life, all of them. I love them very much. And, there might be some jolting or some things that need to happen. Maybe a trip to, like, what was it that the boys went to? Dubai or something like that? Yeah. So I think something needs to happen where there has to be some recalibration. I never doubt their ability. I never doubt their strength. I never doubt their confidence. I never doubt their willingness to be champions and pull through. And I never doubt any of that. Even when I criticize the grit, it's not about, I'm not saying that they don't have grit. I'm saying they're players with other profiles that are more gritty, like a Lucy Bronze or whatever. So that's just kind of my take. And I'm curious to know, like, what you think. Do you think that the club always expected to win the Champions League last year?
That's $1 million question. I mean, we spoke when we done some of the women's shows last season, because it was pretty obvious for people in the chat and ourselves that Arsenal weren't going to win a WSL. I actually have my doubts this season, if I'm going by what I've seen in the first 6 games.
Oh yeah, there's no way. I don't think.
Listen, Arsenal obviously, in terms of the domestic competitions last season, went out really home to City, home to Liverpool. Ironically, that day, I see Olivia Smith just tear Katie McCabe a new one. Yeah. So to say, I think my exact words were Arsenal to save their season after going to the Champions League, and they've done it. They've done something they've not done for a very, very long time. So kudos to them for doing that. But football doesn't stand still. That's almost kind of yesterday's news. And we spoke about this in terms of Arsenal. I'm talking about Arsenal specifically, the WSL campaign. Is when you're chasing a juggernaut in Chelsea. I mean, there's unbeaten, for goodness sake. And the likes of City and the two United the two Manchester clubs are getting better.
Yeah,
they got some very, very good players, man. If you look across the board, your Jess Parks, your Grace Clintons, the goalkeeper at Manchester United, is it Fallon Joyce? The name is it? They get some good players, man. Obviously, and like you said, Fridolina Rolf was going to Manchester United ladies as well. So
the TCR is playing great. Yeah.
So it was imperative that Arsenal had to get off to a very, very good start. And, there's great positive vibes after the first 2 games. I went to the first game of the season, the London City Lionesses. It's completely gone out of my head who we beat afterwards, but it's completely, obviously, who was it again now? People drop in the chat, who did Arsenal win the second game against? And then they went on a run where they didn't win 4 games in in all competitions. Yesterday was really frustrating. And you can talk about some of the other WSL games, people, as well, where I can praise the opposition team for last-ditch tackles and great position and great defending. But if I'm looking at it as an Arsenal fan, why are you passing the ball so much? Why is it so slow? The reason why the defenders are getting in position to block your shots is because you're taking too long. It's not decisive enough. I think Mariona spoke yesterday after the game saying that there's a lot of things we're not doing very, very well. A lot of things. So from your attack to your midfield to your defense, like even defensively, what I've seen this season. I mean, the Man City away game. I mean, I don't know what was going on. Like some of the goals were really avoidable. Now, yes, I think Tammy put in the chat about missing Williamson, but some of the mistakes they're making, you could have 7 Leah Williamsons, but if you're defensive making them kind of basic elementary mistakes, and Demian, coming back to you, I don't know what's happened to Daphne Van Domselaar. I mean, what game was it? Was it the last league game? No, at Meadow Park, where Lyon in the Champions League.
Lyon in the Champions League.
Oh my God, what was she doing?
Yeah,
for both goals.
Yeah,
I mean, the first one, I don't know. I mean, I think I messaged you guys straight away. I said, "What is she doing?" The second goal, you cannot play a pass to your midfield player who's got their back to goal to be. You set her up for a trap. Mariana loses the ball, they score the goal. Game's different game. I mean, I don't know what's happened to her this season. Is it the lack of competition behind her? Is she not focused? I get it, Demian, if it's one game, but there's been quite a few.
I would say not necessarily defending her, and I think this could apply to. That's why I'm willing to give some of these players always, but grace in the sense that Daphne was so good last year, so good that having a bad match or a couple of forgettable moments, they seem way worse, because of the standard she set. And I'm not excusing the decision she made, and it was bad. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily concerned, but you mentioned the lack of competition, and I think that's one of the things that is sort of portrayed. I'm not saying that's the actual thing, but it's portrayed.
Sorry, Demian, to come. Sorry, let me cut it quickly and I'll come back to you. And to be fair, I've not seen enough of Annika Borbe, so we've not seen her play yet.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Go on, come in. Sorry, Demian, go on, mate.
No. You're absolutely correct. Like we don't necessarily we can't see her, but what I'll say is these players have been elite for a while, and I don't know if the competition is enough or right or wrong. I'm not really sure, but there's what we sense, what people say all the time from TalkSport to journalists or whatnot. There seems to be no competition, and people know their place. They know Mariona and Kim Little know they're always going to start. Whoever's Russo knows she's going to start. Now Steph Catley knows she's going to start. I mean, who's going to start? There's no way that there's going to be a center back pairing of Katie Reed and Lotte Wubben-Moy. That's not ever happening. She's going to have somebody else instead for whatever reason. And I'll say something about Lotte Wubben-Moy because I know I always kind of criticize her. I always bring up my opinion on her that is a negative opinion or not as good. I think we're doing her such a disservice at the club because we could try her as a center defensive midfielder. Because if she loses the ball like she normally does playing at center back, at least there's going to be people to cover for her. And she deserves to have some minutes. The same way that Pelova is not my favorite player. Well, play her in a position that you're going to set her up for success, or play a three women midfield. You don't need necessarily to play this 4-2-3-1 like always.
Would you have? I know would you have her at right back? She's played there, but when I say have her at right back, in terms of not obviously starting ahead of Emily Fox, or is it centre back, or she just doesn't start?
Pelova or Wubben-Moy?
No, Wubben-Moy.
I wouldn't start her, but if I had to start her, I would start her not above Emily Fox or Jenna. I'm saying if we're going to give her some minutes, if we're going to give her minutes, like we don't have So let's just say that Kira Cooney-Cross plays, and she's a staple in the team, and she's always playing, but she gets injured, right? Kira Cooney-Cross replaces Leah Valti. Who the hell replaces Kira Cooney-Cross? So I would say, I mean, I think that Beth Mead could play anywhere, but I would say Katie McCabe might be able to do that because of her defensive capabilities. Obviously, Leah Williamson might end up being that player. But in the meantime, why not somebody that has grit, that loves the club, that gives her all 100% of the time, you know? And you put her in a position where if she were to be not as good, you have people protecting her. Katie Reed, Katie McCabe, Emily Fox, Jenna Neiswanger, Taylor Hines, whoever. So I think that this rotation is not being done properly. Not that I know better than Renée. I mean, I love Renée. I mean, if I see her on the street, I'll just bow down and kiss her feet. So it's a very weird thing that back in the day, in previous years, I knew who to blame, and my anger would be directed towards this figure of this person that I couldn't stand in the previous manager. But I love Renée. The amount of joy she's brought you, me, Sophie, the entire community, the entire world.
Demian, what's happened to Leah Cadena?
I don't know. I don't know why they don't have.
That's what I'm saying. There's too many. There's some question marks about some of the players. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That they're not playing any minutes.
Yeah.
And one of them is your signing in Neiswanger.
Yeah. So Neiswanger, it happened, and Jamie brought it up. There's we have done that before, Rosa Kafaji, and so on. And it's like it happened with Stina too. She was like not getting any minutes, and she's a born winner. You know, she scores the important goals and so on. Like, I really don't. And to me, what's frustrating is like the players that should stay, you sub them out. Like you take off Beth Mead, probably the highest football IQ, top 3 of the club or whatever. You take her, like, no, take off Caitlin Ford, who always tries to plow through players. Like, Beth Mead actually crosses the ball and can play free. And you mentioned the Kim Little thing. When players get up in age, what do? Usually they maybe go farther up the pitch, or they get given a more free role. Look at Messi. Look at Ronaldo. Look at all these players. Like, let her do her thing. Let her roam by the D, and just let her shoot and let her pass and let her be Kim Little. Not this like midfield dynamo. Like, we don't need her to be Frank Lampard or Steven Gerrard or box to box. We need her to be like Bergkamp. You know? And I don't think we're playing to their strengths. And I'm not saying that Renée doesn't know what she's doing. It's just something is not working. Otherwise, things would be working.
No, it's interesting, man. Like I said, it's I mean, we saw after the I think it's after the Man City game actually. They looked at Arsenal's starts in the WSL over the last I think it was 6 seasons. And they got 8 points, man. That's before West Ham, by the way. So let me be very, very, very clear. Now, if you're going for a league title, and I think it was 8 points last season and this season, and there was other seasons where they got 15 points, and you can't have that. They're not starting the WSL campaigns well. You're starting behind the 8 ball against a team that's undefeated. You know, and I said it before, when they played at home to Villa, they got what they deserved, and they got a draw because that goal was always coming. I mean, we beat Brighton, but that was an own goal. I think it was that goal, and obviously,
an own goal.
Apparently, at one point, it was an own goal yesterday against Benfica. But I'm not. I think René's almost adopted the kind of Mikel Arteta thing in terms of the possession obsession FC. I mean, Demian, listen, I love beautiful football, but you know, Arsenal are working positions where why are you not shooting? I don't understand. Like, the pitch is only so big. Like, just there are times in the first half yesterday where they're getting into very, very good areas, Mariona, Olivia Smith. Get your head up. See the play before you see the play. The pass is already there. You've got players in the team to do that, but everything's just a little bit off in the moment. And I think to sort of, I'm going to ask you a couple more things before we move on to sort of the men's side of it. People, like I said in the chat box, big up to you guys. Smash the likes. Obviously, when you watch this back on the rerun, smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel somehow, subscribe to the Highbury Squad. I think they've got Leicester away, Arsenal's next WSL game. But do you think, Demian, to come to back to you? I've seen people talk about this before, actually, more so online, in regards to there might be a point, maybe not so early on in the season just now, but you might have to look at your player staff and say some of these players are surplus to requirements, and I'm talking about moving them on.
Yeah, I mean,
restarting again.
Yeah,
some of them.
But I also think that I think there's more of like a deeply cultural thing, weirdly, at Arsenal. Like, we could have had Anna Patton or Freya Godfrey instead of Wubben Moy, or we could have had X players instead of KCC, or instead of Palova, or instead of Caitlin Ford, or instead of Taylor Hines, whatever. Like, I like ready-made players. I am exhausted of players with potential and all this other stuff. Like, yes, that's what the academy is for. And at some point, people are going to be like, wait, what works? Well, what Chelsea do works. What X other team does. What Barcelona does works. What Manchester United does works. They won the FA Cup. What Man City have done works, right? And I'll die on the hill that Arsenal need a Viviana Miedema and a Jill Roord and a Daniela van der Donk to get us out of trouble in some of these matches. So, yes, I think players should be moved on. The romantic in me, person that loves these women and respects them and wants them to be part of Arsenal, and that knows that Arsenal are among the best clubs in the world, that they're going to get treated better at our club than anywhere in the world. Yeah, of course I would love them to stay perpetually. But I think that
you don't want it to be the kind of daycare center kind of feel, though, do you?
Exactly. I mean,
and I think that's the issue with that's what. Sorry, I'll come back to them. I think that's what, because people chucked later said, you know what, Black Stennis misses too many chances. Sometimes Beth has been stinking out games. Ford runs down into blind alleys, and I get why Arsenal fans say that. I'm watching them play, and I'm like, we can't just, because I've said this about in terms of the men's team with some of our sections of our fans, where I get it, players have done bits for your club or you like them. I understand that's natural for you to do that, but don't let that blindside you to say that we need better or we need to move on.
Right.
Because time doesn't wait for nobody. You see now we started the WSL campaign this season. 8 points after the first 5 games.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it, man.
Yeah, and these women, at the end of the day, whether they're at the most elite levels, all of these women are stone cold killer competitors that want to be treated with the utmost respect, with, honesty and all this other stuff. And they can handle the rejection. They can handle the adversity. I mean, they're women, for crying out loud. Of course they're used to all this stuff. And they succeed and they continue to do that. So, yeah, some might need to move on, or some might choose to move on, like Aliyah Valti. Do you think it was easy for her to leave Arsenal and the facility? No, man. Her partner is in the damn squad, for crying out loud, but she moves on. Like Viviana left, or whoever. Like, it's a very hard thing. And you said about the daycare thing, and that's what I think has become in a way.
Yeah, it has. I think it has a little bit.
So I think it's like, yeah, we need to be somehow ruthless, or if we keep the same players, rotate and set them up for success, and tactically make it so that some of these players can shine more than they have shined at the moment,
Yeah. I don't mean like rotators, and when of course you can bring on subs when you're losing games, but I mean that Villa game was a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it was 1-0, she should have made the changes earlier, because it was stale.
Yes.
It needed to be injected with some pace. But I want to finish up one more thing about Arsenal before we move on to the men's side of it. I want to talk about this lady, man. How you think she's done at Arsenal thus far. Olivia Smith. Talk to you, Demian.
Well, the honest answer for me is that because I love Beth Mead so much and I love Chloe Kelly so much, if Sophia starts over either one of them, I'm going to be slightly less chuffed. That is just my reality. She's been amazing. She's great. I love her feet. I love her awareness, quick passing, and to go back to a point that you made, she shoots. So, yes, let's have her on the team as much as possible. So if we could finagle a way where we can have Beth as a 10 and Olivia on the right or on the left, switching up with Chloe, please, let's do it. You know, I think she's fantastic. I think her future is absolutely untapped and there's no ceiling to what she can do. And I'm excited that she's at Arsenal. That's like, I love that. But if she's going to play every 6 matches or only be on one side of the pitch or whatever, like we are going to set the ceiling tactically and professionally and emotionally for some of these people, like Arteta has done with the men, or it seems sometimes, you know. What do you think of her?
Yeah, that she's the one I wanted at Arsenal. I said it last season.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I'd liked what I saw. I'd like the way she absolutely, like I said, she handed Arsenal a new one on that FA Cup game. I think Renee's been she's been pretty smart of her. She's not played her week in, week out. I think she's still only 20. She hasn't got that much experience in terms of playing for Canada and for when she's Liverpool ladies last season. But she gives us spark. She gives us pace.
Mm-hmm.
She gives us directness, and she does have the ability to shoot. And I see people like clamor, oh, she's, you know, Renee's got a plan. She didn't play on the left for Liverpool. She on the right.
Correct. Yeah,
she's a right-sided player. I like what they've done with that, because people, sometimes I call it short-termism. Like, okay, cool. First game of the season, London City Lionesses. I like the switch over between her and Chloe Kelly for 5 minutes, weren't getting a tune, cuts in, bang, goal. I get it, but she's a right-sided player. But it's how you utilize her and get the best out of her. And you've got the players at Arsenal to do that. She's moved to a bigger club. She knows that. But at the moment, we're not playing. Our speed of thought in terms of our possession game is what's harming us. And if you chuck in the mixer, the defensive errors and the imbalance of the midfield, you've got an interesting cocktail. But yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing about Olivia Smith. I think she's been really good, actually. She's got a little bit of bite about her as well, which I like.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about grid. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. So when you spend you know, £1 million on the player, you better use them, because I'll be on some of the people's backs, to be honest with you personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gives us something that I don't think we particularly really have at Arsenal. And like I said, you need to just build around that. And obviously, you know, the more experience she gets in the kind of learning the patterns of play with her teammates, she's going to be absolutely fantastic for us.
Yeah, she's going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. At
the moment, yeah, it's just the team. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. The Sophie put in the title, is SLEGER'S honeymoon period over? I actually think it was over anyway, Demian, to be honest, mate. But I guess it depends as an Arsenal fan when you think that period was. But I think
it's unsustainable. What are you going to do after winning the Champions League? I mean,
go and win the WSL.
Yeah, or be unbeaten. You know, It's like Sonia Bonpastor. If that question would be asked about Sonia Bonpastor, is the honeymoon over? Of course not. It's still going, because she hasn't lost. I'm curious to know, like, if anybody knows WSL wise, how many games in a row, or when was the last time that Chelsea lost under Sonia Bonpastor? I don't think she's ever lost or something like that. I don't even know.
And that game's pretty soon as well, November 8th. I
November
can't
8th,
go to that. Yeah, I needed that fixture to be moved, but they're not going to move it. So I think Arsenal ladies are playing. I think that's an early kickoff game, and then the men's team have got Sunderland away that day. It's a 5:30 game. But yeah, one more thing, Demi. Obviously, Zinsberger, we learned the news. Ben Jacobs tweeted about 3:15 p.m. UK time about Manuela Zinsberger. yeah, not good to see, man. We're seeing too many frequent occurrences with ACL injuries. And obviously, this was spoken about. It's happened in, in a training session ahead of the game yesterday against Benfica. So speedy recovery. And, we need to wrap Daphne Van Doms up in cotton wool as best as we can. And obviously, we brought a goalkeeper into in terms of Annika Borba to obviously deputise as the number one when Daphne doesn't play. But big up to the people in the chat. We've chewed a lot of fat off of that, but we're going to switch to the men's. International break is over. I don't mind it personally. I've a bit of a refresh, bit of a debrief. Big up Bukayo Saka. England's, what's it? Let me get this. Let me not tongue tie myself. So let me get this right. He's got the most goals as an Arsenal player for England. One more than Cliff Baston now. So that's no mean feat. So that's quite an incredible achievement, actually. And he's only 23. So it's insane. He's got a fantastic goal against I think it was Wales at Wembley. Fantastic. But Demian, yeah, we've had the break. Last game feels like ages ago now. Beat West Ham 2-0 at home. We go again, London Derby again after Fulham as well. I'll be there for that game against Palace. But
nice.
Our record ain't good against Fulham, man. Last two seasons, I think we have, if I go in reverse, we've got a draw and a defeat, I believe. If I've got that right, people in the chat, let me know. What's your thoughts about what you've seen so far with Mikel Arteta's army, Red and White Army? And give me your thoughts about that. And also, we got Fulham Saturday, 5:30 p.m. UK time.
5:30, yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic. As you know, I'm not an Arteta in person. I think that sooner or later, some of the things that he does or his choices that he makes are not going to get it over the line. And I'm that cynic that's just kind of waiting for that moment to say, I told you so. But what I see thus far is he's been proving me wrong this whole season. I think it's been efficient, a matter of fact type of approach. And I'm so glad you posted that picture up. One of the things that you and I have talked about, and with Sophie, about Martinelli, is that we don't think necessarily that he should play on the wing and that he should play as a 9. And he did it, and he's doing it. And, for the couple of matches that where he rescued us. So far, I can't say anything. I can't hate on the guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if, the wheels come off at some point in this season because of some choices that he makes or subs that he doesn't make and so on. What about you?
I don't know. I always had the thing, obviously, before the start of the season. Some people are convinced we'll get it done. Some people just feel there's something in the air. Maybe that might be some Dom Perignon and some champagne maybe talking. I don't know. But I don't know. I think for me, coming into the season, I still didn't have Arsenal down to win the league.
You do or you don't?
No, I didn't have them down to win the league. Whether that's because I made the decision before the summer window or halfway through the summer window, and if you ask me the question, am I more optimistic about Arsenal winning the league after who we signed? And yeah, of course I am. You crazy?
Absolutely.
I was campaigning for Gyökeres,
5 years ago.
I remember. Yeah. Eze even longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course I'm more optimistic. The defense isn't an issue. Even from a statistical point of view, the defense isn't an issue. Arsenal got the best defensive record in the league. Golden Glove David Raya. And I think I look at the season before, and to me, at one of the 22-23, we should have got it done.
Yeah.
You could argue even 23-24, but I think Arsenal got a very, very good chance this season, man. They have. You can't to have the squad assembled that they have got and some of the players that have come in. But I've always said, and sort of go off a little bit what you were saying in terms of how you might feel about the manager. And I came on this exact same channel We played Brighton away in the Premier League, and that was the first time I said I think maybe those group of players at Arsenal need to hear a new voice. Mm-hmm. And so me and Sophie had a lot of pushback that day for the people in the chat. And that was me just saying that, and I'm not even the most vocal person in the fan base about the manager. So you can see how far the olive branch is with Mikel. But I think I said it at the time. It doesn't matter who Arsenal bring in. You have to remember who the manager is. And everyone has their way of playing. Everyone has their way of setting up the team. You know, I was disappointed when I saw the lineup against Liverpool, and there's the home game against, it's gone out of my head completely now, but people know what I'm talking about in terms of the midfield three. Zubi,
Marino, I think.
Marino, yeah, and Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Because people were saying that you've got fractions as a fan base, then that go, you know, he's got no excuses. There's better squad depth.
Yeah.
And then when they see the team sheet at 3 p.m., they're like, what is going on here?
Sure.
I'm doing watch-alongs thinking, oh, for goodness sake, man. But
it's like
I think
when the women do something, sorry to interrupt, like when the women do something, the men don't do it, and when they do, it's like this thing. I wanted to ask you something. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Please finish.
Yeah, I'll throw this to the chat as well, man. Like, because Sophie's put this on the Highbury Squad before in regards to it. For me, it was always going to be a case of, is Mikel prepared to be more adaptable with the squad he's got now? And that's my question.
I don't. We'll let the chat. I don't necessarily think that, but I have a question for you, and I might be completely wrong. And I wish also that James Johnstone was here because he's Mr. Stats person. I have a vibe, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm curious to know your thought. The previous years, Arsenal have beaten the big teams, so to speak, and struggled against smaller teams, right? That was like a big downfall, like happened with the women a few years ago against Birmingham, etc. I get the vibe this year that we could beat Bournemouth, and we could beat Fulham, and we could beat Palace, and we could beat Newcastle, and we could beat this Tottenham, etc. But I'm not too sure that we're going to beat City, or we're going to, who, by the way, I think are going to win the league, or City. I said City. Liverpool again. I'm a little nervous against those.
I said with Mikel Demian, I think for me it was, when I talk about him being, my exact words were, and I clipped it and I put it on Instagram. I said, has he got the, what's the word? I was going to use another word, but that's a bit too strong for this podcast. It begins with B and it begins in S. Has he got the to when we play Spurs away? Yeah. When we play Spurs away, when we play City away, when we play these games, where is he brave enough to pick a side to go there and win? I'm still not sure. Only time will tell when them games come around, and depending on who's going to be available and fit. But I see people putting in the chat in terms of injuries. I know Nkapie trained yesterday. I got some quotes from Arteta to take them from. I'll get it up on screen, Demian. You might want to give your thoughts on it as well. About Gyökeres and Dumendi. About Gyökeres, I'm very pleased with what he's given to the team. I told him before the first meeting, the 9 that I want is a 9 that when he doesn't score for 6 or 8 games, he can handle that. If not, you have to go somewhere else. There is more to that quote, people, so don't get scared now. There was a lot more, trust me. But I just took a bit there. And obviously, he spoke about Martin Zubimendi. Will be available this weekend. He was absent today, but because he played 2 games again, his load has been really high recently and he needed an extra day, but he is available. Damian, I want to get your thoughts actually about more. So I'm going to start with Gyökeres and what your thoughts are about Zubi. Gyökeres, my guy who I wanted. Go on, come in.
Gyökeres. No, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I did the watch along obviously for the West Ham game. I actually thought he was good against Newcastle and Olympiacos. He just didn't get the goal. I think they said he's not scored in 8 games now, and that's 600 minutes. What's your thoughts? I think a lot of Arsenal fans were going on really hard on him after West Ham when I checked online. And I just said, and I'll bring you in, Arsenal have had some legends at this football club, IDB10, who I remember when he came into Milan. He struggled in Italy. He came to Arsenal. He struggled.
Even I remember that. Yeah,
he struggled for quite a bit of time. So just cut Gyökeres a little bit of slack, because I've even seen in the chat box sometimes and hear them, but we didn't just bring him to hold up play and all that. I was like, just calm down. Just calm down.
Yeah. The question, what I always resort to when people talk specifically about Gyökeres in general, it's a very arrogant question, is have you ever watched football in your entire life? Like, have you ever followed a team? Do you know anything about anything? Like, it takes time. Thierry took time. Robert Pires took time.
Yeah, he did. A lot of time.
For refresher, Freddie Ljungberg, as we know, had hip problems and ankle problems. It would take him 3 or 4 matches to get back, and then he was cooking. Right? So imagine social media, the first or second match, shitting on Freddie Ljungberg, like one of the most emblematic players in the history of the club, one of the most clutch performers. Like, what are you guys talking about? Give him some time. Let him. And also, are you forgetting that he's not getting any service? People don't know what crossing the ball is at Arsenal Football Club. Like, this idea of being...
Demi, do you know who's suffering a little bit from that at the moment? Unbelievably, a little bit, even though she scored in 2 Champions League games in a row. Alessia Russo. Absolutely.
And this idea of flipped, and you come in and then you go, great. But also, like, I was so nostalgic. Right before we saw each other, I had a highlight reel of David Beckham, and it was only his crosses from the wing, and I was just like, people don't understand what a great player David Beckham was. Aside from all this stuff, just his passing was just so ridiculous. And when was the last time that we saw anything like that from Arsenal? I don't remember. I'm not trying to be, smug about it. Like, I don't remember the last time there was a cross from a right-footed player in that shape, or same with the left, where it ended up in a goal. Like,
and the thing is, Demian, he's making the runs. I mean, there's that viral footage that when Odegaard had the ball, and he made a run to the defender's left, didn't get the ball. Then he checked again and he still didn't get the ball. So I don't get me wrong. People listen. I was a big fan of yours because I wanted him at Arsenal above everybody, by the way, and I mean above everybody. He was never going to come in and score the volume of goals, because I think what's happened is Haaland's come in for the last 2 years, but he's an anomaly, and he was doing it in Dortmund as well.
Yeah,
and
he's just a freak.
There's bets him to come in, and because I said this with Gyökeres, I'll come back to you again, and you also want to get your thoughts on Zubimendi as well. Is Olympiacos, when he got that through ball from Odegaard and he battered them 2 defenders and he hit the post, that could have been 1 goal. Yeah, the moment when Martinelli should have put him in, but again didn't get his head up. Then look, that was possibly another chance. Declan Rice fires the ball in across, that could have been another goal. Get the shot off against Newcastle early in the first half against St James's Park. Who knows what could happen? Go around the goalkeeper, for example, put it in the back of the net. He could easily have another 4 or 5 more goals. It's that, but I get it. You want him to come in and smashing hat tricks against Liverpool and United and all these other sides, and I get he's got the robustness of playing in England before, although it's in the Championship. But just cut him a bit of slack, man. Yeah. If it comes January and then you're not sitting, you'll be like, oh, okay, hold on a minute, hang on, like you need to stand a bit better. But come in, Demian. Sorry, brother.
No, I completely echo what you're saying. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I know how much you love this player. You've talked about it for years. Basically, since I've known you, we've talked about Gyökeres, we've talked about Eze, and we either give him time or we play for him. And I think that's the big criticism that a lot of people have, including myself. Like, where you have Haaland. Imagine if Haaland came and Pep was like, okay, we're going to use you as a 10. You're just going to hold up the ball. Like, forget about making runs into the box. We're going to use you as a false 9, actually. Like, what? No, he uses them as the force of nature that Haaland is. So if we're not...
Even he's added a little bit more. If you watch it, he's added a little bit more. He's not just... He's an amazing goal scorer, but there's games I've seen, I'm like, yeah, you've added a little bit more to your game and to help the team.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing about Gyökeres thus far is when his back is against the goal and there's a ball that comes to him and he flicks it or touches one touch and sends it to the left, or usually to the left from what my memory, but to the right as well. That is like Berbatov, that is Bergkamp, that is latter day, somewhat latter day, depending on the team where Beckham played, where he would do that a little bit. In Milan, he did it. In PSG, he did it. So many players did. Bergkamp would do that. Pires would do that. Like, that is a sign of awareness. So what would you normally do? You do that counterattack. You go down the channel, and then you hope that person crosses the ball at some point. But when that is not happening, it's hard. So I think I'm with you. I'm Team Gyökeres. I don't doubt the guy. I'd rather have him than not have him. I'd rather have him than Havertz or any other player.
Or Sesko even. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, it's Gyökeres, he's a big guy, he's a bully, man. He's because when we played West Ham, I mean, Jesus, man, you've got 2-3 defenders on him.
Yeah.
All the time. And he's creating space for I'll guarantee you now, you might see some games where Saka's doubled up on.
Yeah.
You're not going to see it so much now. Trust me. I'm
true.
hoping it comes good for Gyökeres. I do. I hope he obviously starts against he probably will start against Fulham on Saturday, and hopefully he'll have a better time in an Arsenal shirt than his national side at the moment. Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
Oh my
goodness. That was bad, man.
Yeah.
Really not great at all. But then I'm going to ask you one more thing about Zubimendi. Yeah, what's your thoughts on Zubimendi so far? Sorry.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's fantastic. And Thomas Partey, so long, good riddance. The less I think about that person at my club, the better. And we're just lucky, or I'm fortunate, feel fortunate that Zubimendi has been so good. I know some criticism on TalkSport and the overlap and things like this were a little rough, and rightly so. I thought they had some valid points here and there. But he has come good, and again, without him, we look unbalanced, and I like him a lot. What about you?
Yeah, Zubi's an interesting one, man. Because he was touted with us. To be fair, Demsek, a lot of people said that about Havertz. I've definitely said that. He does create a lot of space. He makes great runs. He doesn't get the ball.
Great point, Demsek. Great point.
It doesn't, because Arsenal take too many touches in the mid-central areas, and they don't receive those ball in the half turn enough. That's one thing Declan Rice has to improve on, actually, is his short passing game. Yeah, he can hit the 60 diag, of course he can. Box to box, 100%. Short passing game. Zubimendi, what I like about him is he doesn't take too many touches. Very good. You technically get at Spanish players anyway, 1 touch, 2 touch, bang. You watch Bon Mati play, 2 touch, bang, 1 touch, bang. That's where they play. I mean, even you saw in the preseason goal, the preseason game at home, was it against Bilbao? Was it? No. It was one game where he put the cross in for Gyökeres' header. Zubi can do that.
Yes,
and you need
yes, correct.
So yeah, that's very important. So I actually think some Arsenal fans have actually said, they're pleased with what they see. I think in a lot of the games he struggled in the first halves. I think he's got better as the game has gone on. I think the only game where he wasn't probably great in the second half, in my opinion, was Newcastle away. But I think
maybe that's the kind of player he is. Where he takes a beat, a half, to read the game a little bit better. But I think even when he's having somewhat of a poor match, it's not nowhere near as poor as a makeshift 6 I'm not saying that Declan shouldn't play there, and I agree with Demian. By the way, I don't think that Declan is a 6 per se, even though he's played there. We could just use him at different places of the pitch. But I agree with you, man.
That's a talking point. Yeah, it's still
definitely agree with you.
And this is his 3rd season at the club. This is crazy. It's mad. Yeah, I didn't think we'd be having that discussion about Declan Rice still. But yeah, in regards to Zubimendi, I do like what I see. I think people get too caught up, Demian, and people in the chat with being someone's replacement. No, they're not. You're not going to get the same. You're not going to get the same player. Like, get that out of your head. He has his qualities. He has Zubimendi. If some of you, I'm sure you watch football outside of watching Arsenal, you'd be surprised a lot of people that don't. And I'm very happy about Zubimendi, the kind of player he is. But again, another player getting used to the league, getting used to his teammates. So, listen, we got a big game, London Derby Central at Arsenal with West Ham before the national break, away to Fulham on Saturday, Palace on the Sunday after that as well. So Arsenal, listen, I think the game against Fulham, I know someone mentioned about them having some injuries. They'll put up a better fight against Arsenal than West Ham did. I'm going to guarantee you that now. And Palace will definitely give us a good game at the Emirates. They got some very good players, man. Very, very good players. But people, big up to you guys in the chat. We are an hour and 10 minutes in. Sorry, sir. If we tried the 59 minutes, 59 seconds. We couldn't do it, man.
We tried.
Too much to talk about. But no, it's great to meet up my brother from another Demian, man. Been too long. Timing was good. Talk about the Arsenal women, 100%.
Yes.
I think with the Arsenal women, a quick summary, then I'll probably ask you about the men's and women's. But I think with the Arsenal women, in my point of view, is something just feels. I've had this conversation with quite a few people. Something is just off, and they can't put their finger on it. They can't put their finger on it. But listen, there are some positives. But Demian, we've spoken about a few options. Like I said, for me, Taylor Hines, big up Taylor Hines, and also Katie Reid and their call-ups for the England national side.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah,
good
that's
for
we shout that out. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
But I think Taylor Hines is more than a viable option in terms of the defensive position. I that would free up your Kim Littles. It would free up your Marionas. Kim Little knows her defensive duty. She's been at Arsenal for about 100 years. She can drop in and. So there are options there, even though we can talk about maybe what didn't get done in the summer. There are options there, but Renee's got to be a bit more set, a little bit too much tinkering for my liking. In regards to the men's, quickly, before I bring you in, Demian, to finish up. Listen, top of the league, Gyökeres will come good.
Yes.
We've got players to come back. Obviously, Ødegaard, the cat, is missing for about 9 games in total, I reckon. We've got Aberi Eza, who I love to pieces. We've got Ranieri there. Listen, we've got options which we didn't have before. Looking forward to seeing Capier eventually. He's in the shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen. We've got 2 big London derbies coming up. And listen, we keep the momentum going. And that's what I'll say. Demian, finish it off, my friend.
Well, let me start with the men. I agree with you. The panic of last year, if Saka goes, or it gets injured, Ødegaard goes, Madueke, phenomenal. Now they trade the injury room. Obviously, Ødegaard being gone, I would have freaked out. And this year I was like, yeah, Eze's better. Like, sure, that's fine. We'll be fine. So that's what I'll say. And lastly, regarding the Arsenal women, what I will say is to touch back on Manu Zinsberger really quickly. A loyal player, a woman that has been through thick and thin, that has lifted titles, that has won leagues, and she's just amazing, and one of the OGs, and somebody that hopefully she'll recover soon, and hopefully we will see her in an Arsenal shirt again. Who knows what this injury might do to her, but if this were to be the last sort of participation she had lifting that Women's Champions League, it's so appreciated. I loved her. She was amazing. She had a hard time when the previous manager would have other keepers in her place, and she just stuck by, and she stuck through it, stuck it out, and fought for her place and re-won it. And she's just a magical person. Everybody speaks so highly of her. The work that she does outside of the pitch for the LGBTQ community and all these sort of foundations and things that she does for in Austria and so on. She's will be missed this season. And furthermore, I hope that she can still be around the team and the club, because she's definitely needed in a very, very experienced player. So Manu, thank you for everything you do and you have done, and we all wish you a speedy recovery for sure.
Yeah, well said. Squaddies, like I said, big up to you guys in the chat. Everyone is sending their love to Sophie and Tony 100 million %. We love you guys. And listen, me and Demian have got you, and the Highbury Squad community got you, man. Hopefully Arsenal can get some wins to soften the blow a little bit. But listen, the Highbury Squad continues, man. It does continue.
We do indeed. Thank you all. Thank you, guys.
And like I said, we've gone live. We also went live on Albert J TV as well, people. So yeah, we're live on Facebook, Albert J TV, Highbury Squad. We cover all bases here, people. Well, let me try and find the outro if I can find it, people. Bear with me. Demian, score prediction for tomorrow, man.
I would say you're saying score prediction. Excuse me. I'd say I'm gonna say a 3-1 win.
You know what? I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. You know, something just tells me.
Neither do I. Away at Fulham, it feels like we never do that. But what do I know?
I'm gonna go for Arsenal to win. Actually, I'm gonna go 3-1 as well. Actually, Demian. No, I'll go 3-1. 3-1's a good shout.
Yeah,
I think we'll concede.
Feels good.
So any people that fancy a little bet for Arsenal to Arsenal to win, both teams to score,
Paddy
and
Power
Arsenal to win. And there are other betting companies, people. I don't know if I should refer them. Well, big up to the chat, people. Of course, your guest host, Albert J TV, Demian Arriaga. I have my own channel, of course, as you know, Albert J TV. The link is in the bio, and if it isn't in the bio, just go and find me anyway.
That's right.
But big up 4-1. Let me get some scores on the screen before we go. Dem said, big up to you, brother.
3-0, 3-0.
3-0. Well, you know, I fancy a 2-0 as well, you know. I don't know. 3-1 or 2-0, Demian. I'll think about what I'll do my Super 6 for Sky, man. I don't know, not too sure. People, love to people in the chat, man. Like I said, hopefully, I think Sophie will try and put this out on the audio, but she's very busy at the moment, so bear that in mind, people. I did have the outro. It's there. People, #4. If you know, you know. We'll see you soon. Back on the Highbury Squad. See you soon, people.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.